What's up, YouTube? So, I'm going to show you guys how in the past 6 months, but specifically in the first 90 days as well, how I lost body fat and packed on muscle all within those 90 days. And this specifically goes for you guys out there, especially will help you if you're skinny fat. So let me get into it. So my name is Cruz. Some of you guys may know me as Cruz Bra on Instagram. I'm going to show you guys how I lost specifically 20 pounds in 90 days. And after it, continued to pack on muscle without losing my abs. So before I get into the details of exactly how I did it, I want to show you my before and after. So the top two photos was like the start. So the one on the left was about almost 6 months ago. And then the one on the right and the bottom left are 3 months in. And then a few days ago was the one on the right. And now I'm continuing. I'm not only staying very, very lean. I'm not as lean as I was, but I'm staying very, very lean, but getting significantly larger. So I want to explain to who this is for and who this process is for. So if you're looking to lose 10% of your body weight and keep it off forever, this is going to be for you. If you're feeling lost and need a blueprint and you don't want some normal cookie cutter program that's going to be simple, enjoyable, effective, this is going to be for you. If you're serious about making progress, but still want to enjoy your favorite foods, this is going to be for you. If you're frustrated with putting long hours in at the gym and still seeing minimal results, this is going to be for you. And if you're aware you have untapped potential to achieve the best version of yourself, but you just need the proper guidance and accountability, this is going to be for you. So I'm going to explain who this is not for. This is not for the person who keeps going in circles that's using traditional methods when they're trying to lose fat and build the muscle because they yield no result instead of using a proven system. If you're looking for an easy, quick fix and don't want to put in the work required that will keep you in shape for life, this won't be for you. And if you're not willing to dedicate at least 4 hours to the gym per week, this is not going to be for you. And finally, if you simply do not believe you can achieve your fullest potential, this is not going to be for you. So I want to tell you the truth about getting jacked that nobody will tell you. Most men fail because they don't understand how to, one, log and track your macros and calories, how to elevate the effectiveness of your training in the gym, and implement macro manipulation to drive maximum progress alongside double progression. Instead, they just like to look for a quick fix. But don't worry, I'm not going to let that happen to you, but you just need to understand that there's no such thing as, I don't have the time, that doesn't work for me, or I'm not ready yet. You don't need superior genetics either, or excessive lifting or cardio to achieve your fullest potential. And if you want to be that person to be you, to be able to achieve your fullest potential, I'll show you exactly how to do it by navigating around all the things I've mentioned, how I lost 20 pounds in 12 weeks and continue to improve, how I can help you shred fat and pack on muscle in the next 90 days, how to do all this without giving up your favorite foods or training excessively. So in case you don't know me, here's a quick, brief backstory on how I got here. So I've been experimenting with lifting and getting in shape since I was 14 years old. But the past 3 years, I focused specifically on bodybuilding and weightlifting. Before that, it's calisthenics. Like over my life, I've had to deal with several, events that were not the greatest things in the world. Like little brother had to fight leukemia, older brother had to deal with a heroin addiction, and then my dad committing suicide. And so all these things led to me, using fitness as an outlet instead of like drugs like my brother had. But ever since, I've dedicated myself to helping others get in the best shape of their life. And I see men every day make the wrong decision on how to start their journey, using fad diets, way too much volume, and just overdoing everything, overcomplicating it, and not getting the results even sustainably, and not even getting the results to begin with. So my system that I created, macro manipulation, I built through my own trial and error, and from helping people for the past 3 years and helping myself as well learn about this and get in the best shape of their life. So now I've decided to break it all down for you. So in the following steps, I outline the process, A to Z, what I did to accomplish these results so you can too. Use macro manipulation and progressive overload, specifically double progression, to shred fat, pack on muscle, and learn how to keep it forever in 90 days. So there is 2 phases to macro manipulation and progressive overload. They're fairly simple. You have the fat loss phase and the refuel phase. Starting with the fat loss phase, this phase prioritizes the fat loss, but still creates an environment to build the most muscle and maximize it even though we're in a deficit. So we're focusing on progressive overload, higher volumes, rep ranges, to make sure that maximum injury prevention, maximum calorie burn, and overall we're decreasing the food intake to burn more fat and optimizing macros to still lead to the best body composition and also most fat loss. And we'll also add progressive cardio, where we don't want to introduce too much cardio too fast to where you have too much fatigue on the body, but this will also increase your total daily energy expenditure without impacting recovery whatsoever, so you can still feel good throughout the day. And then onto the second phase is the refuel phase, where the priority changes and it becomes the more reverse dieting and more of muscle building phase, which is going to be the 90 days after the first 90 days. So what we're going to do then is prioritize recovery even more by lowering the volume, increasing the intensity to drive maximum muscle growth, by also lowering fatigue overall. So, we don't have to do a deload later on. And we're going to progressively, again, that's a common word that we're going to hear a lot, progressive, increase the food intake and progressively lower the cardio, whether it's, just 5 minutes a set, every session you subtract. And this will allow the least amount of fat to be put on while maximizing muscle growth. Now, let me show you how I optimize each stage of the system for myself and my clients so that I was no longer held back by mistakes I was making. And finally, I found a process I and my clients can trust to shred fat and pack on muscle. So this first starts off with obviously your training, your recovery, and nutrition, and trifecta. So what you got first with training is, these are the most important things, is having proper form, intensity, and double progression. These all go along with increasing strength, and by having maximum intensity or getting as close as you can to failure depending on the movement, and make sure your form's the same so you're not seeing false results. For example, what you could do is you could speed up the rep to get more reps in and think you're progressively overloading or gaining strength. So you can trick yourself thinking, oh, I'm building more muscle. So as long as form stays the same, you're slowly going up in weight each week or reps. That's why it's weight or reps week to week that you're adding. And then your intensity's on point, which means just reps in reserve. So you're trying to get 0 reps in reserve. In RPE, you're trying to hit an RPE 10 or plus every single set. Depending on the movement, obviously couldn't do that with the squat, because if you fail on the squat, then there's a possibility of injury. So you got to get as close as you can to, a particular movement. And then we have nutrition. So again, maximizing progression. So macros and calories, they need to be all set in stone and optimized based on the calories you have and based on your body weight to minimize fat gain, maximize muscle growth, dependent on the phase. And then refeeds weekly. I like to call refeeds. I don't want to call them cheat meals, because we don't want to use it as an excuse to binge and overeat, right? So what we want to do is call it a refeed, because we're just giving our body a little extra energy to, avoid binging. And then we want to maximize the amount of meals we're having per day. So, we're not as hungry, and you never want to eat until you're full, especially on the first phase, the leaning out phase. So the fat loss phase, just because what happens is your stomach gets used to those amounts of food in your stomach at once. And that is going to cause a little bit of issues where you're going to be hungrier than you usually feel you are. Because what your stomach actually expands and contracts depending on the amount of food it's getting. So then here comes in with recovery. So there's important sleep practices you need to incorporate that, they're not 100% necessary as long as you're feeling well rested in the morning. But if you are, these are some things you can do to, help that. So obviously caffeine timing, not drinking caffeine before bed, like having your last caffeine beverage, 8 hours before you go to sleep. Blue lights, not using your phone an hour before bed. Final meal timing, so making sure you're not eating too close to where you go to sleep. So maybe an hour, stop eating before that. And your sleep schedule, you're just going to sleep, waking up at the same time. a low room temperature around 65 degrees, and then complete darkness. And then, of course, having your growth days, aka your rest days. So your fat loss phase specifically. So the training, we're going to be training in higher rep ranges, 12 to 20, for injury prevention and mastering the form and intensity of each movement. And we're just going to build that overall solid mind-muscle connection, obviously through mastering form and also intensity. And like, if necessary, we will introduce some pre-exhaustion techniques in case you're struggling to, feel that muscle. And then addressing any areas of pain. So we'll find what works best for you, because it's a trial and error stage of just figuring out what works, what doesn't work, what needs work on with injury, what we need to slow down on, not increase the weight too much. That's why, again, we're using those higher rep ranges, because we don't want to get injured during this whole process, because that will stop you from going to the gym completely and slow down the results you want. And then, of course, higher volumes to increase that total daily energy expenditure. Cardio right after each session, because you don't want to do it before, because that's going to impact your performance. And then goes for nutrition. We're going to optimize to make sure fat loss is the highest priority through a calorie deficit. Still allow for progressive overload to be applied through macro manipulation. I usually put my clients start 500 calorie deficit every time they plateau, subtract 200 to 300 calories. Simple as that. Protein, 1 gram to 1.5 grams per pound of body weight. Fats, kind of keep it around 0.3 grams to 0.5 grams per pound of body weight. These are obviously, fats are going to maintain hormones, cell function. Proteins are going to be those building blocks for muscle. Proteins, I never, honestly, for myself, have gone above 1.25, but some people on the 1.5 end, they get a lot more benefits from it. So it's obviously something you try and you see what works best for you. And then carbs are going to fill in the rest of your calories, the back end of them. And those are going to maximize your performance, and that's why we're prioritizing so much. And, proteins and fats are fixed based on your body weight, and then carbs fill in the rest based on, us trying to lose weight. And then, of course, you're going to have one cheat meal per week to avoid binging. And so when it comes to finding, obviously, your maintenance, just using a BMR calculator and then going by your activity level, subtracting it by 500. Super simple. Then your refuel phase. So how training goes for the refuel phase is minimizing the volume. So we're going to use the lowest effective volume to maximize recovery and avoid needing to deload later on. And intensity is going to be at a max, because we've already learned the form. We've already gotten all that down. So we don't have to worry about injury. So it's going to be around the 6 to 12 rep range, closer to the 6. We're going to try to hit PRs every single week. Increase strength way more than we were doing previously, because we're adding calories, about 100 per week, and subtracting the cardio by 5. So, and then goes for the nutrition. So again, what I was saying, adding 100 calories per week. Obviously, specifically carbs, depending on your body weight, we're going to increase protein as well. But you put on the lower end of the 1 gram, because you don't need as much protein to maintain the muscle you created. And also, you want to be on the higher end the more muscle you have, or the more experience you have. So we're going to gradually increase calories, because we're going to be super sensitive to carbs, just because we've been, restricting them for so long, because those are also the ones creating our deficit previously. Because they're going to be absorbed really fast, your body's going to really utilize them. That's why you're not going to be gaining fat during this process, or very, very little. And of course, we're going to maintain the 1 cheat meal per week, or the refeed. At some point, you won't even eat them anymore, because you're eating plenty of food. And we're regain our high metabolism, because you do downregulate your metabolism. It's just going to happen during a cutting phase. And you're not going to add much body fat at all. But at the end of it, when you're at a point where you're like this uncomfortable with the amount of food, and it's also by feeling, that's where sustainability is achieved. So these things, macro manipulation, double regression, are meant to shred the unwanted body fat that creates, and that's going to create the anabolic environment to pack on muscle in the 90 days that you actually want. For me, the results were so worth it, but obviously I'm still hungry for more. As you can see, I'm bulking right now. And this was me just a few days ago. So I understand now, now you understand exactly how this process works. But I have an offer for you now. So if you're skinny without abs, you're just overweight, or you're just sick of just not seeing that lean physique in the mirror, you're not sick of seeing the abs, and you are ready to be confident in your own physique, and see the most physical improvement you have in the next 90 days, come join me by booking a call in the link below to shred 10% of your body weight and pack on muscle in the next 90 days using macular manipulation and double progression. And if it doesn't work for you, I'll refund you completely.